Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to Hand of Fate. This is the second video. Last time we did the first dungeon, the tutorial. Things are going to get a little bit more interesting now. Let's go and hit start and we can hopefully get into the second dungeon.
Ah, good. Now you understand the basics, we can begin in earnest. Your hero is returned to his beginning items. Our decks are reset. Welcome to the cabinet, home of the members of my court.
So there is an endless mode, which we can't do at the moment because it is locked, so we're going to be going into story mode. And here you can see the cabinet where we choose our opponents. We've already defeated the Jack of Dust. He was the opponent we faced in the tutorial. We've only got one more unlocked, which is this one, the Jack of Skulls. All the rest of them are currently hidden. And whenever you get to the fourth boss, or defeat the fourth boss, which is the ones down the right-hand side of the cabinet here, we will actually unlock a modifier that makes the game significantly more difficult. But we're going to go and face Jack of Skulls. And you can see there will be certain challenges that will always go into the deck. So there will be 3 times 2 of skulls and 3 times supplies. So they will automatically go into the deck when we face this opponent. There is a button for lore, which will give us some information about the Jack of Skulls. Not really bothered too much about that. So let's select.
Time for you to face my undead army. Meet the Jack of Skulls.
Now you can see here the button to start the game is greyed out and the deck builder has this little exclamation mark next to it, and the reason for that is we no longer have enough cards in the deck to be able to start, so we need to go and put some more cards into our deck. So would you like to use the recommended equipment and encounter deck? Well, I would do. It just makes life a little bit easier. As you can see, we only have 10 equipment cards in our deck and we need to have 12 to do this encounter. We also only have 9 encounter cards and we need to have 12. So we're going to say yes, and that will automatically put the cards into the deck for us. We can show the deck. So all of these cards along the bottom here, these are the cards that are actually in the deck here. We can actually go into the encounters. And all of these cards, we could swap them out if we wanted to, although we don't really have many we could swap with. I could swap Dead King's Hall for Dead Man's Gorge if I wanted to. But the cards that cannot be removed are these ones with the locks on the top. All of these cards that are locked, they have to be in the deck. We cannot remove them until we've defeated them. Some of them you can't ever remove. I think Mr. Lionel and the Maiden you can. They don't count because we completed them in the tutorial section. But all of the rest of these cards do have to remain in the deck. We don't have a lot of extra cards to choose from, so there isn't really much customization that we can do. Some of these cards are new because we did get them at the end of the tutorial. So let's go back and start our game.
New content awaits you. It will be awarded when you complete your run. I will add my own cards to the deck. How boring life would be without a little spice.
So as you can see, the dealer's actually put his own cards in. You can see there's slightly darker cards there. Those are those 2 of skull cards.
We play for life and death. Prepare yourself.
Again, we've still got a fairly linear progression, a fairly linear route to travel in, so we're going to start working our way along.
I'm starting to wonder if you're simply leaving this card in as a quick way to get your hands on a shield.
Well, exactly. That's the exact reason this card is in the deck. It is a quick way to get your hands on a shield. It's nearly always the first encounter you get as well. I'm not going to read this out again because I did it in the last video. It's a card that you're going to see on almost every single playthrough. And we're going to go for the same option. We'll ask him what he needs. You can give him the bread. Says he needs to help us. Draws a shield card. Just the basic one. It'll do. Could have been that other shield, that something breadth. That is in the deck somewhere. So he has a shield. On to the next one. Twisted Canyon again. We've seen this before.
It lives in every game. That initial moment where things begin. I have worked on these cards all my days, and the canyon has been there from the outset.
Okay, so let's do this challenge. So, of course, we're going to take the option to climb down and retrieve the weapon. There's only one failure state here. I'm not too sure which one of these is safe. I think that's safe. Yep. Sometimes it is difficult to track the card. They do move slightly. Some of the later ones, they actually shuffle multiple times. And when you've only got one success card, they can be very hard to follow. So we get a weapons card. We get a sword. Slightly better than our axe. Only slightly, but yes, we would like to equip it. And on to the next card.
Given how rarely one encounters the folk, you are fortunate indeed to meet Merith again. Or perhaps we are merely cycling around the wheel and dipping into the same memories time and time again.
So we'll have the same options as last time. Generally, I tend not to go for gold, because you never know if you're actually going to run into a shop, and even if you do, you never know if it's going to have anything useful that you want to buy. So I'd sooner have either longer life or more supplies. Supplies can be relatively easy to get, so having a little bit more health can be useful, but I think we will actually go for supplies in this instance. I don't think it's going to be too difficult. We're going to go for the supplies. So we actually get 2 food gain cards here. This is one of the dealer's cards.
One of my cards. A small benefit. I will not be so graceful for long.
So as I said, not all of the dealer's cards are negative. 5 food from that one. And that was only 1. So we gained 6 food. That's pretty good. And on to the final card of this level, which will be the stairs.
Head downwards, if you dare.
So we go down to the next level.
Many have reached this far. Further, in fact. I do not know if you have what it takes to do better than they did.
Again, it's a fairly linear level this, so we don't have to worry about multiple paths. On to the next card. Reveal.
Running water protects against many things in myth. Generally, though, it's just a pain to get past.
So this is a new card. We haven't encountered it before in our game, and it has a token, which means if we defeat this encounter, we will actually get some new cards for our efforts.
There's a token in it for you if you win.
So your path is blocked by a river, the water is clear but fast flowing. Well, there's no point turning back because we can only go back the way we came and we don't have any other route to get to the end, so we have to attempt to cross it. There's a huge success. I'd love to try and spot that one. I think it's this one here, the second one. Wonderful. Your light armor makes crossing easy, and you even stop to dive for some shiny stones on the riverbed that may fetch a few coins. The dealer draws you 1 gold gain card. So if I'd have actually got a success, I'd have got across the river but wouldn't have got the gold gain card. Because I got the huge success, I get some extra gold to go with it. If I'd have hit the failure card, I'd have probably got across the river, but I'd have most likely taken some damage or lost some food or something negative along the way. 15 gold, not bad. Once upon the other side of the river, you realise that one of the stones is in fact a ring. You put it away to have it cleaned and identified later, then continue your journey. The card's token is now yours. This is another thing that can sometimes happen with certain cards. Some encounters lead to another. So sometimes you'll have an encounter card, and if you complete it, it will actually open up another encounter card that you'll have to deal with later on.
The token is yours. Well done.
And because I don't think that actually went into our inventory. Yeah, I think it's just part of an encounter. We're not actually wearing a ring. And the other item that I was trying to remember the name of is an artifact. There we go. Those are the secondary items that you can get that you can actually activate within the third person aspect. You also get blessings and curses, which we won't really see until later on. So we don't need to worry about that too much. So let's go on to the next card.
I always thought it was best to avoid the problems of others. I see you have no such concerns.
So again, we have a new card that we haven't encountered before. There is a token available for completing it.
Win this and claim my token.
You hear a shout from up ahead and the sounds of battle. Racing forwards, you discover a warrior surrounded by undead. Broken bones litter the area around
More
the man.
skeletons for you to deal with.
Let me finish. Broken bones litter the area around the man, but there are still more closing in on him, and he appears to be badly injured. It's one of the dealer's cards, it's a 2 of skulls, it shouldn't be too difficult to deal with. Stranger, he calls out as he throws you his weapon. Here, take my mace and put an end to these monstrosities. So he's given us a weapon. It's a mace.
It's a lump of iron on a stick. Not terribly subtle.
I so love that line. It's a lump of iron on a stick, not terribly subtle. Now this is just a very basic mace. It still does more damage than our sword anyway, but it has the holy trait. Equipment with this trait strikes fear into the cold hearts of the undead. They will sustain more damage and may not be resurrected around such holy relics. So one of the things that certain undead creatures can do, the skeletons, especially the boss, they can actually raise the dead, so they can bring the undead back to life, if that's technically possible. But holy relics are supposed to stop that from happening, although when I played it before, even though it was pre-release, that didn't seem to be the case. Either way, having a holy weapon will do more damage against the undead. So let's take that. We definitely want to equip it. And now we have a 2 of skulls to face. So it's only 2, shouldn't be too difficult. We do have a shield. We've only got light armor, but that's fine. Don't think we're going to have much of a problem here. Some gold up for grabs as always. Let's just go and run in. And most of the time you don't even need to worry about dodging and blocking. You just beat them up before they have a chance to do anything. See, a lot of people find this aspect of the game rather simplistic and a little bit boring, and I certainly agree. In the first few parts of the game it is, but it gets better. Good work putting them to rest. Keep the mace you have. We have enough back in Kabir, he says, slowly standing. We've been hearing reports of undead in our kingdom recently, and I came to investigate. He stops to look around at all the bone fragments. More of them here than I suspected. Some new horror must have decided to settle in these parts and brought its minions. I must head back to the captain and report this to the Duke. Watch your step, friend. There is something more powerful at work than just skeletons. And the card token is now mine. Goes into my collection. On to the next card. Looks like it's going to be another new one. Still got plenty of food and we haven't taken any damage yet.
I like this demon. He lies as often as he tells the truth.
Now I happen to know this card. Quite an interesting one.
A challenge for you, and a token if you succeed.
A cloaked devil appears in your path. I'm here to test your might, so-called hero. Choose your foe. Now, he gives us some options here. Now, we choose one of them. Now, it says choose a monster to fight, but sometimes he lies. So, the ideal option here would say, well, choose a monster to fight. I should pick the 2. If I pick the 2, I might end up just fighting the 2. However, sometimes he lies and I'm choosing a monster to discard, which means I'll be discarding the 2 and fighting 6. So what I should do is pick one of the 3s, which means I'll either end up fighting 3 or I'll end up fighting 5, but I won't end up fighting 6. So I'm going to pick the 3 of dust. And we are just fighting the 3. But I have seen that card before where you pick one of them and he throws that away and you end up fighting the 2 cards remaining. So it's always best to try and work out what would give you the fewer enemies to face. 3 of these guys, really easy to take on, not a problem, don't care. So I'm going to go and punch these guys in the head with a big lump of iron on a stick. Countering where I can so we don't take any damage. One problem this game does suffer with a little bit is sometimes it's very difficult. You can't actually control the camera. So the camera is always facing one direction, which makes it a little bit tricky to see what you're doing sometimes. It's like the camera is always angled in one direction. Excellent, the devil cries. You have passed my cunning test. Have some treasure. Perhaps next time our paths crossed, I will kill you myself. So we get 3 gains cards, and we get the token. 3 more food, always nice. Get an equipment card. Which is... ooh, a nice shield.
A shield for the marathon. not the sprint.
So, every third encounter does not consume food. Well, that's really good. Now, shield doesn't offer you any sort of armor, so it's a better shield than the one we have, because it lets us do reflect and counter, and means we save a third of our food.
Are you sure that's the right approach?
Yes. And we get 20 gold. Up to 45 gold already. So, let's carry on. Looks like this could be another new card. One of the dealer's cards again. It is a shop. And again, in a shady grove off the beaten trail, you find a travelling merchant looking to trade with wandering adventurers. Let's go and have a look. We do have some gold. Not a massive amount, but gold is gold. So, let's go and see. You might have something useful. So this is not a mage, this is a travelling merchant, so we have some extra options here. We can actually get him to heal our wounds, although we don't have any. We are at 100% health. Not sure if we have anything that we could sell. We could potentially sell the sword. It's only worth 3 gold, though. It's not that useful. I very much doubt we're going to switch to the sword, so let's go ahead and sell it. And we can also go ahead and sell our basic shield, because we've got a better one. So we've gained 5 more gold for that. And let's go back and see if we can actually buy any items. So we can buy Damocles. This is an artifact. We have the option to get some medium armor.
Average. What do you expect me to say? Congratulations.
Desperate measures.
I'm impressed. Few select these sorts of weapons because nobody ever anticipates being in peril. Such misplaced confidence is usually their downfall.
Now this weapon's quite expensive. It's actually 48, so it would take all of our gold. However, it does do 5 more damage than the standard mace, and we know that we are fighting against the undead. Both of them have holy, but I think I'm going to leave that one for the time being. See what the last item is. Mercenary Contract. Once per combat, press 2 to activate an aurora that makes every successful strike drop gold. This can be quite useful when you're fighting a lot of enemies, because it's a good way of getting gold, but we're probably not going to need that. I think what I'm actually going to do while I'm at this shop, because we have 50 gold, is we're going to buy the Damocles for 35.
A classical approach to dealing with crowds.
Because it's a very good AoE
Artifacts
weapon.
provide powerful special abilities to use in combat, but it takes time to ready them.
So they do have a cooldown. We're also going to buy the medium armor for 15.
Middle of the road in every way.
It might be, but it's still better than what we had
protects
before.
you from damage. The best armor, of course, does so much more.
So there we go. We've got some new equipment. Fantastic. We want to leave the shop. Let's just have a quick look at the inventory, make sure those items should be equipped. They normally equip automatically. Yeah, artifact is already equipped, and we press number 2 to activate that. The number 1 key is reserved for weapons, because some weapons have an activatable boon on them. Our current one doesn't. But number 2 will fire off Damocles, and we should be wearing the medium armor. Yep, we are. Brilliant. Okay, so on to the final card here. More stairs.
Deeper towards our foe.
So as you can see, the tutorial level only had 2 levels. This has more. You want to take the stairs.
Good. Now all you need to do is find and kill the Jack of Skulls, and we can progress.
Again, very linear. So on to the next card.
Greed. If it were not for greed, then who would play at this game?
Okay, so again, another encounter that we haven't dealt with before.
We play for a token now.
You see an ancient, ornate coffin in the middle of a burial chamber. It may hold spectacular wealth, but it will surely be guarded. Draw 2 monster cards. 4 of dust and a 2 of skulls. We can attempt to take them by surprise, or we can sneak away. Well, we want to try and do this encounter, and I could deal with the 6 of them, so let's attempt to take them by surprise. Now, we've got 2 huge successes and 2 huge failures. I'm really guessing here, and I guessed correctly. Suddenly, you leap into the fray, taking one of them down before they can even react. Choose a monster to discard. Well, we'll get rid of the 4 of dust. I would imagine if we'd have failed, we would have ended up taking some damage. We'd have lost some health, and we'd still have to fight all 6 of them. So now we just have 2 skellies to fight. I will try and demonstrate the Damocles, because it's on a cooldown, but you can use it multiple times per battle. It's just telling me there that I can use the artifact. So if I just press 2... we've destroyed one of them already with our lovely little AoE ability. The one thing that I dislike about this sort of third-person bit is sometimes it takes longer for it to load in than it actually does to complete the encounter. You loot the room, the dealer draws you 3 gains cards, and the card's token is now yours. So we get another equipment card, which is actually better armor than I had.
Excellent way to turn an injury into an asset.
So, it's a medium armor, the same as the one that I purchased, but during combat, strikes sustained from bows and wands have a chance to restore your cooldowns. Now, by cooldowns, that would mean the cooldown on my weapon or the cooldown on my artifact. And I do have an artifact, so that could be very useful. There's no downside to equipping it because it's at least as good as the armor that I already had. The only reason I might not want to equip it is I might decide to sell it, but I don't see any point. We're near the end of the mission. Now, I don't know if we're going to have any enemies that are using ranged weapons. It says bows. I know there are some ranged enemies that use guns. I'm not sure if those count, but let's go ahead and equip it anyway. 5 more food.
One of my food cards. Well done. And good luck to you.
Well, we've got plenty of food anyway.
I'm sure you're grateful for that.
Nice, 15% maximum health. Now bear in mind, when we met the Elf Maiden, if we'd have actually increased our maximum health, we may have had more than 5. We might have got a 10 or a 15 health boost, so then we'd have got 15% of whatever we had. But still, 115 max health is not bad.
It is yours.
It didn't put our health right up to max, but as we move, we should gain health as we go to the next card. And we do, because we have food.
Our bandits are displeased with your challenges.
So even though we're dealing with the skeletons now, we do still deal with some of the bandits, the dust ones. A group of bandits suddenly attacks. The King of Dust isn't happy about you killing his men. The dealer draws you 1 monster card. 2 of dust. Hardly worth the loading time again. Still, we shall deal with... Just going to run up to them and Damocles in the face. Now, some of these levels you do have to be careful because some of them are booby-trapped. There we go. Didn't get a chance to do a thing. That Damocles is incredibly powerful. It only sends the weapons out in 8 directions, and it does have a limited number of charges. It only has 9 charges. We've already used 2. Among the bodies you find a scrap of parchment with a rough description of you, plus an offer for a reward from the King of Dust. The dealer draws you 1 gain card. Really don't need this much food now. We've only got 3 cards left to go. Travelling Tinker. So another type of shop. Can't remember what the Travelling Tinkers offer. Let's just have a quick look. We don't have any gold, so we can't really do anything, but... Again, it has been a while since I played the game, and I can't remember, so there's a little bit of my own curiosity going on here. So, what does the Tinker offer us? I think it might be... Is it rings and stuff? No, buy items, sell items and food, although he might have more interesting items. Weapons, armour, helmets. So as you can see, this mercenary contract only has 3 charges, as shown by the number here. If we went into our own inventory, you would see that our Damocles started with 9. Now only has 7 because I've used it twice. So that shop was pretty useless for us anyway. So, on to the next. Winding Trail.
An ambush. Hardly fair, is it?
I don't mind ambushes. Not too much. Suddenly a tree falls across your path, blocking the way ahead. The dealer draws you 1 monster card. 3 of dust. We can either attack the cowardly band for daring to threaten you, or we can give them all of our gold. Well, there's a few things that I find strange. One, that D looks like either a capital D or a small b, and it shouldn't be a capital, so it's the wrong way around. It's weird. I don't have any gold, so I can't give them my gold. If I did, I probably would, but we'll just go and fight them, because who cares? You shout a battle cry and raise your weapon. There's only 3 of them. So I might even try and use my Damocles here. We might even get into the middle of them and kill 2. That'll be fine. That'll give us 6 charges left for the final encounter, which will be perfectly fine. So let's just sort of go and YOLO right into the middle of these guys. Well, we didn't get a kill, but we certainly did some damage to them. That's 2 dead already, yep. Oh, no, I interrupted him. Don't really need to worry. Wow, his head stuck right through my shield there. One thing I will say for this game, it looks quite good. It's all made in the Unity engine, but it's still a very good looking game. 3 more game cards, doing well today. 1 more piece of equipment. Another shield, fantastic.
A strong left arm is as important as a strong right arm, after all.
Well, we don't need that. Current one is better. 3 more food. 40 gold. That's quite a lot, actually. One of the highest gold game cards you can get. This will be the final encounter.
The undead. Of all the players in the game, these are the most dangerous in the world, yet in no natural form. A wrongness, an error, cheating.
This tenacious undead is usually difficult to lay to rest. In addition to sheer strength, this skeleton has the power to revive recently defeated skeletons in its close vicinity. But that's why we're using a holy weapon.
Again, a token is at stake.
A couple of tokens, actually. Again, he'll have some friends with him. 4 enemies. Now, we actually probably want to try and take the boss down first, because he can revive. He shouldn't be able to, because we have the holy weapon, but it's still nice if we can take the boss down as quickly as possible.
Shots from rifles cannot be deflected. You would do better to avoid them.
Yeah, so we've got these guys that use rifles, which we will need to dodge. I think we've already taken the boss down, actually. And we have. There we go. That was a nice, easy one to do. They do get a lot harder, trust me. Some of the encounters towards the end of this game will have you tearing your hair out. Well, they'll have me tearing mine out.
Ah, well done. Well done indeed. But you have roused the dead in their dusty tombs, and even I cannot say what will come of it.
We have a lot of tokens.
This is what I was looking for. You show some aptitude for the game. Perhaps this will not be as boring as I thought.
Last time I played through this, it didn't even have the Steam achievement. So let's go through and crack on with these, because we've got quite a lot of tokens. And some of these are DLCs as well. So the Murder at Sea DLC, I think we've got this one. The Landlubber quest. I think these things just mean they're DLC. So I've got all of the DLC for this game, so we'll see a lot of extra stuff. The Hunt for the White Minotaur. Yep, another piece of DLC. Fantastic. The White Council. It's another piece of DLC. The Goblin King's Halls. And most of this DLC was free. The Underworld awaits your sacrifice. It's another piece of DLC. Out of all of the DLC, there's only been 1 piece that I've paid for, which I think is called Wildcards, that adds some new weapons and some new encounters and some new bosses, but all the rest has been free. So, for diving into the river, we received the Ring of Survival. That was the ring that we found that we had to wait for it to be clean, so we've got ourselves a new ring. Well, it goes into the equipment deck. For helping the captain of the guards, we get the mace, well, 2 maces, so they will go into the equipment deck. So it's that 23 mace with Holy. For surviving the Devil's Choice, we receive the Devil's Wager, which is a different encounter card. For exploring the Dead King's Hall, we receive Treasure Chest, another encounter card. As a reward for defeating Skeleton Jack, we receive the Crucible. the Queen of Dust, which is going to be the next boss, the Helpful Priest, and Desert Storm. So 3 more encounter cards and the new boss. And then finally, again, probably for defeating Skeleton Jack, equipment, the Helm of Reflection, Consuming Shame. So we've got a helmet, we've got an artifact, Angel's Wing, which I believe is another helmet, and Frostfang, which is a weapon.
Shall we deal again?
And there we go, we have completed the 2nd level of Hand of Fate. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying this playthrough. I'll see you next time when we attempt the 3rd level of this dungeon. Until then, goodbye for now.